Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we are going to be taking a fully spoilerly look at Kaiju number 8, chapter 82. Now, this chapter I think perfectly illustrates Matsumoto's greatest skill. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. I said it in my last video. We all know where the plot is going. This is a classic Shonen Jump manga. Matsumoto's not the kind to subvert any major expectations. Matsumoto is just telling a really, really good Shonen Jump story. Character has to train to overcome weaknesses to defeat the monster and save the day. That's what we're going for here. So ultimately, we know where the story is going. So you would think that would deny Matsumoto the ability to make any major plot twists. But Matsumoto has made himself the master of what I'm calling the corkscrew plot twist. Think of the way a corkscrew works. You have a strong piece of metal that's constantly changing directions, but ultimately, the force of the direction is going in the same direction. This is what makes a corkscrew so useful. It is one of the three basic tools engineered up to be useful. So, how do you get a cork out of a bottle? A cork goes into a bottle and the bottle is squeezing on the cork. No matter how much you with your bare hand pull on the cork, you can't get a grip. So you use the screw shape of the corkscrew to stick it down into the cork, and then you can use a cross piece to lever that cork out of there. It's in real life, it's incredibly useful, and in storytelling, it's incredibly powerful. So what am I talking about? What was the plot twist in chapter 82? Well, the plot twist was that Kafka does not go to save his friend Kikoru, because with chapter upon chapter upon chapter of build-up, showing this relationship between Kafka. Kafka goes to save Kikoru in the initial battle. Kafka goes to save Kikoru in the attack on Tachikawa base. Kafka goes to save Kikoru when she's battling the ants. That's three major beats establishing that when Kikoru is in danger, when Kikoru is about to be overwhelmed, Kafka goes to save her. And he goes to save her not just with his body, with his physical powers, but with his heart. He boosts her spirit. He lifts her energy. And that's something she desperately needs right now in her battle with Kaiju number, which is it, 12 or 15? I can't remember. Anyway, with Brainy Ballerina Kaiju. So Kikoru is in desperate need of Kafka to come and save her. And over the past several battles, Kafka has constantly come to save her. So over the entire course of this story, we get the buildup where we expect Kafka to show up and save Kikoru. But it doesn't happen in this chapter. So did this come out of the blue? Did Matsumoto just say, haha, I'm going to really surprise these people because Kafka's not going to go save Kikoru this time? No, it doesn't come out of the blue, because over the past few chapters, Matsumoto has been building up what actually did happen. And what did happen is that Kafka shows up to save Shinomi, the platoon leader who was training with Kikoru. And what happened and how did Matsumoto build that up? First, we have the chapters that establish that Kafka is under the direct orders of Shinomi. She's his direct CO in his chain of command. She's the one who's telling Kafka what to do. So naturally, Kafka's attention is going to be on her more than it is Kikoru. Then we have the establishment of what Kafka's training has been up to this point. Ever since Vice Captain Hoshina was finally reunited with Kafka, Kafka has been training to fight without going full kaiju. And in order to face the Brainy Ballerina Kaiju, Kafka would absolutely have to go full kaiju, because as Kikoru is firmly established, raw brute power and speed can't do anything against the Brainy Ballerina. However, the kaiju that was specifically designed to counter these two platoon leaders was specifically designed to be simply fast and strong. He's Superman. He's got Flash's speed and Superman's strength, which is something that Kafka can absolutely combat without fully transforming, which is what we see him doing here. And this goes all the way back to Kafka's initial reaction with Kokoru in the application arc, because remember when Kafka flips over his car and turns around and shows off for Kokoru, he later says to Reno, but look, see, I only transformed the parts that were under the suit, so I didn't get caught. And then later, when Reno's scolding Kafka for transforming to rescue Kokoru, Kafka says, oh, I got here, I was only going to transform partially, but then I realized that wouldn't cut it, so I had to transform all the way. So you have another overlap there. Kafka not wanting to transform all the way to rescue Kokoru, but having to do it anyway, in the same way that he'd have to transform all the way to rescue Kokoru in this chapter. Then you have Kafka transforming partially to save Manasseh in that cute younger girl that works for the 3rd Division, and it was very, very similar compositionally to watching him save Shinomi in this chapter. He grabs her and pulls her out of the way with only a partial transformation. And then, of course, you have him turning on the speed to go face the Kaiju bomb at the end, and he was only partially transformed, but he was still pumping out enough speed that it immediately showed Vice Captain Hoshina that something was up. And, of course, you have his training arc with Vice Captain Hoshina, maximizing his fist-to-fist combat power with the Director General's combat style. So, you have these two distinct threads weaving through the chapters. Kafka is always there to rescue Kokoru and boost her spirits, and Kafka has been training how to use this power in small doses and still achieve his goal. And Kafka is perfectly designed to combat the Kaiju number 8 in his full form with his Kaiju negation power, regeneration powers fully activated, is the perfect counter to the Brainy Ballerina. But Kafka, partially transformed and ready to throw fisticuffs, is the perfect counter to the flat-headed Kaiju that was beating the snot out of Shinomi. And then, of course, you have the reoccurring beat of Kafka defying orders for the greater good. You have Kafka defying Reno's orders. Reno didn't really have any power over him, to show off at the training base and to rescue Kokoru. You have Kafka defying Vice Captain Hoshina's orders to get back from the Yoju bomb, and then you have Kafka defying Shinomi's orders to save her from this attacking Kaiju. So you have all of these threads coming together to make one of Matsumoto's signature corkscrew plot twists. For us, the reader, yes, it was a distinct plot twist that Kafka is going to rescue Shinomi, platoon leader Shinomi, instead of his friend Kokoru. But Matsumoto built it up perfectly, so in retrospect, this makes perfect logical sense. That's where Kafka's attention was. That's fighting a superpowered speedster like this is where he's been focusing his training attention for months and months. And so it makes sense that this is where Kafka is going to shine, not as Kaiju number 8, but as Kafka Habano, the Defense Force officer who has mastered the power of Kaiju number 8. And chef's kiss. This is just really, really, really good writing, and it's the kind of plot twist that I hope I can master one day. All right, my wonderful viewers, what did you think of this chapter? A lot of people were saying that they didn't like how much time was spent on Shinomi's backstory, but I think that's just Matsumoto's style. Matsumoto doesn't want to just give you disconnected characters to root for. But what do you think? Did this chapter spend too much time on Shinomi's backstory? What do you think of this corkscrew plot twist? Would you have rather Kafka had zoomed over and gone to rescue his friend Kokoru as he's done before? Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment telling me what you think. Go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data. And peace out, my wonderful viewers. One last note, I'm sorry that there's no transcript for this video. I've sprained my dominant hand, more like I've sprained my entire dominant arm, and typing a full transcript was out of the question. But thank you for your patience, and see you on the flip side.